Hey there, DeFi adventurers. Welcome back. Today, we're going back to Dogechain, but it's not for the best of reasons. This past week, one of you alerted me to the fact that the UI is not working well over on KibbleSwap. In fact, there's really nothing we can do. Swaps don't work, we can't withdraw our liquidity pools, and if they're staked, wow, we're really in trouble. But I've got the key that you need to unlock those pools, unstake your liquidity, and get back to square one. And I'm going to show you that in this video. I'm also going to link this video under our scams avoidance section so that people can learn about it there, because it really should work for any liquidity pool and any AMM protocol that you're using, regardless of what it is. Now, keep in mind, if the smart contracts were maliciously created, then it may break the rule here and not be possible to redeem your funds this way. I did, however, verify it with my assets that were deposited to KibbleSwap. So if you're specifically looking to redeem those assets because you followed our tutorial, this will help you out. Let's take a look. Okay, so just a little background here on this issue. Unfortunately, rug pulls of this nature, where the website exists but simply doesn't allow you to do anything other than connect your wallet, and after which, if we try to swap, we just receive this error message over and over again. This can happen, or you can have other symptoms that a rug pull has occurred where the website will be gone completely, or any number of other things. If it just doesn't work, then that's a bad sign. And here we can see that liquidity, it's not showing anything. Farms aren't populating. Now, my first thought here was to reach out in Telegram, and somebody had reached out to me, and that's what I recommended to them, because that's what I always do. What they found there, and then what I found as well when I checked it out on my own, is that there's really no more developers here. It's just people complaining that the website doesn't work. And if you go back a bit further, you see mention of alternative UIs that were launched, like KibbleSwap, but now those aren't working either. So it was looking pretty grim until I remembered that there's another way we can deal with this. Now, I'm going to post the link to this guide here, but it is a paywalled guide through Medium, so you may not be able to access it unless you have Medium Pro. For that reason, I'm going to go over all the steps here today. Now, that guide over on Medium that I learned this method from is called Guide to Emergency Withdrawal of Your LP in a Yield Farm. Now, this is from a couple of years ago, and if you're working with a very malicious developer, it's possible that they could have changed some of these opcodes so they function differently than the Block Explorer thinks. And in that case, doing these steps could actually lose you more funds. I will say that when using it with a wallet that you have a limited amount of funds in, the risk is limited to the amount of funds that are on that network in most cases. So keep that in mind. I'm going to post the link below for anybody who wants to take a closer look at this on their own. That said, let's get into the method. So the first step to getting back to square one after an incident like this, where there is no website that is usable or no website at all, is to identify the transaction where you deposited your liquidity. Now, that's not where your liquidity was created, which we have here. No, that's where we took our liquidity and put it into the master chef contract. So notice here, this is the first instance that I'm interacting with the master chef contract. Now, rather than selecting the master chef contract itself, I'm going to select the transaction. With the transaction selected, I can scroll to the bottom and get the PID. This is the number that I'm going to need in order to withdraw from that contract. So I'll press this button here to copy that. At this point, I want to return to the previous page and this time click on the master chef contract itself. Once selected, we're going to move all the way to the right where we have a write contract option. This is going to give us a list of opcodes that are available in that contract. Now, you want to be careful here, because if you sign with your wallet after selecting any of these, it's going to execute whatever you initiated. And many of these things are not things that we want to do right now. Really, all we want to do right now is withdraw our funds from the staking contract, and we'll do that using the emergency withdraw function, pasting in the number that we received previously, and then selecting write. With that transaction confirmed, we can now view those liquidity pool tokens within our wallet. Now, it's important to note here, and this is straight from the guide that I'm using, that if funds have already been drained by an exploit or a hacker, calling emergency withdrawal would not return any funds to your wallet. We can see that execution of that MasterChef contract in the fashion that we did in fact withdraw our liquidity. But now, what do we do now that we have these liquidity pool tokens, but we still have no UI to withdraw them? Now that we have the LP back in our wallet, we can use Rug Doctor's LP Breaker tool in order to redeem the underlying assets, whatever's there. With our wallet connected to the tool, all we need to do is paste in the liquidity token address, this one here, to the field, and then select Break. Here we'll select the max amount and approve it for spending. Once approved, we're prompted to take apart the LP using the Breaker tool. Following confirmation, we can see that we've redeemed our underlying assets, completing the process. Keep in mind that the steps that we went through are risky, but as a last resort, they may be a great method of redeeming the funds that you would otherwise be unable to access. Take note that it will not work on all networks, and only some networks are supported, but it does include Dogechain, the one we use today. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. I hope that helps you redeem your assets from broken liquidity protocols that have no UI available anymore because they've either shut down their website or done something where it no longer functions as it should. When we're working with high-risk protocols, these types of things are important to know for when things go south, and they're not going to go great every single time. So where do we go from here with Dogechain? Well, I personally am going to be leaving it alone for a while. The things that we found, like developers basically just closing up shop and not saying anything and halfway leaving the website open so it looks like things are still running but not really paying any attention, is a sign that the ecosystem just doesn't have enough active capital to support good development. Now, I could be proven wrong with that in the future, but given the frustrations we just went through, it isn't worth my time when we've got a lot of other great networks to check out. I'll see you in a future video where we're doing exactly that.